what Draymond Green said this week.
Boy.
Damn, I don't know if I guess you don't agree with it, but teams should be held more accountable for.
I do agree.
Okay. That's it. That's it. He could walk away after that.
I'm done.
Okay, well, I'm not.
Go ahead, man. Speak now. Speak your piece.
I'm not, and I agree with him, but I think sometimes when you feel a certain way, and I appreciate Draymond Green even speaking up for something like this. Sometimes I think he does overdo it. And I think Barkley kind of said. Barkley's another vocal dude who sometimes he talks gibberish, and I do agree with that. I just think it was halfway right, and you gotta leave it at the teams should either be held just as accountable as players do for the player movement and how you treat the player and just the respect level of anything. Because if this was any business, you don't publicize you some letting go of somebody. They're not a public company. They are in a sense, but if they're a player, they don't have any equity in the company. They're an employee. So there should be a way you do go about it, and they should be held accountable. And more so than what I think, or either they should be held accountable, more accountable, or the player should not be held accountable either. Either or works for me. Whatever turns out to be a wash, I'll take it. But what the teams really should be accountable for is these damn GMs that suck or don't know how to run a damn a team. That's embarrassing. That's $1 billion corporation. All these teams are worth over $1 billion. And you have that many teams that stink. Go make that. They should all be in the G League. All these teams. This is embarrassing. It's really embarrassing that you only have 4 or 5 GMs that you really truly want to play for, or 4 or 5 owners, teams, or corporations that you truly want to be a part of. That's part of the reason why LeBron left. Like the whole thing when I had to think the conversation about Tom Brady and why I think like, all right, listen, I'm not saying he's not one of the greatest. He is. He's up there with Joe Montana. You can't tell me that he's just better than Joe Montana though, or that he's just better than Dan Marino and he's just better than John Elway. Those are the 4 best I've ever seen, but I don't know who's better. I don't know if Joe Montana had 20 years of this if he doesn't go to 10 championships either. You know what I mean? Because he never had the option of just choosing to leave like that. He never had the option of having one of the greatest coaches ever. Well, actually, Joe Montana did. That's a bad example. Dan Marino and John Elway did not have that. But you can't tell me if John Elway played on the Patriots for 20 years that wouldn't have happened. So the same thing in basketball. The reason why LeBron left, his GM stunk. So I'm going somewhere where I can win. I don't want to sit here and be a loser for my whole life, and then you guys blame me for not winning. And I think it'll come to a point eventually where championships finally will not mean this grandiose thing, and the players won't be held accountable, which is part of the reason why I'm glad Draymond said that. Why do we keep holding these individual players accountable for winning a championship when they're not responsible for creating the team? So LeBron said, "Words, and you're going to put that on my shoulders. I'm going to create a team." You know what I mean? So I like what Draymond said, half of it, but sometimes you go too far. Like Rudy Gobert, what is he? He's going to have to sit down. And how do you think he feels? And like, he'll be all right. Go to a therapist if it's that bad. If it's that bad, bro, you're playing basketball. Not Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry. It was dude from the Rockets, I think. Or whoever it was. I'm sorry. Whoever I'm forgetting.
Andre Drummond he was talking about from the Cavs.
Andre. Okay, whatever. I think Andre Drummond's okay. He could smoke weed. He ain't gonna get tested. Knock it off. That part, it was the part where I went, all right, Draymond, maybe you misspoke because sometimes we go on like right now I'm going on a rant. I could misspeak. I understand it, but that's going too far. But he should have drilled the team after that. Like, yo, I'm lucky. I'm glad I got drafted by Golden State. I'm really lucky I got drafted by Golden State because if I got drafted by Milwaukee, if I got drafted by the old Clippers, if I got drafted by the Cavaliers, I would not be worth $200 million right now because they stink and they are worth $1 billion solely because of LeBron James. So that, yes, they should be held accountable for being trash.
You done?
Are
you done?
I'm done. I am. I'm gonna puff.
What the fuck was that bullshit you just said?
Seriously?
First of all, yes, seriously. Not all of it.
Okay.
Nah, I'm just fucking with you. But listen, man, I'm not mad at with Draymond Green. Even if Draymond Green was on the worst team in the league, it still doesn't take away from what he said. Franchises are more empowered than these players. The NBA is different than any other league. These players drive the revenue for this league, as in every other league too, but they're solely the face. The NBA is more marketable than the players are more marketable in the NBA than any other major sport in America. The fact that he said that, what he said, is true. And I'm glad LeBron James has put the power behind the players nowadays. He's everything that these players should stand for and be modeled after. Especially these all-stars, these guys, they make all this money. These franchises are allowed to say, oh, we're going to trade these players. But these guys are not allowed to speak about it at all or have any say in it at all. They're going to get fined. Like, I just think that shit is bullshit, man. I think it's BS. I think the players are the product. And the fact that it sounds like these franchises are telling them is it's time for them to shut up and dribble. Like, shut up, don't dribble, sit on that bench and wait till we trade you because you have no voice here because we own you. And yo, you know what? Players in day and age, like, yo, that sound like some slave master shit. And motherfuckers ain't having it no more, bro. Those days are over.
Whoa,
those days are
this is when
done.
But yes, they are. That's why I don't understand that. LeBron changed that. So we're no longer there at all. There was a time when that's the case where you could try to compare it to slavery, and that's it's always a stretch to do that. But I did agree with him halfway. But so do you feel bad for Andre Drummond? I haven't heard anyone say, "Oh my God, he has to sit down." Or I haven't heard anyone. James Harden, when he sat down for the Rockets, I haven't heard they railroaded him for that. I get that because he did kind of give up, and it was like whatever. But I didn't. Whoever was saying that, was harping on this, and you didn't want James Harden on your team because of those games, you're a moron. First and foremost, you're a moron for that, right? But I'm not saying that's not the majority of everyone that's doing that. Do you feel bad for these players when when they're in limbo like that badly for them?
I mean, all right, listen. I'm not crying and losing sleep. No. But as a player, as a fan of someone watching, as a human, yeah, this guy, I get the point. These guys make millions of dollars. They shouldn't be complaining. Get all that. But listen, if you're not happy with a situation, anybody, if you're in a job that you're not happy with and you want to get out of there and they're telling you, no, you can't leave, you're going to feel frustrated. I'm supposed to just shut up and not, express that frustration when the franchise or the company I work for, they're allowed to say whatever they want about the situation or do whatever they want about my situation. They're able to speak on that, but I'm supposed to sit here on the bench or sit at home or whatever and wait till y'all make an action. Why me, the product that helps you bring people into these arenas? I mean, without COVID, I'm the person that brings tickets in. I'm the one that brings the money, drives revenue. I'm supposed to have a say in what's going on here? Come on, man. Come on. Even GMs, if you got an all-stars on your team or superstar on your team, like, say, LeBron James, you're going to consult with LeBron James when you're thinking about getting a player. Any GM in this league, in the NBA, is going to be like, yo, LeBron, what do you think about this trade? Or what do you think about this player coming here? He has a say in that. If you're a good player, you should have some cachet, some say on what's going on or how your career is going to end up. Like, listen, yo, I tried my best here. It didn't work out. I feel a good player. I want to be put in a good position. Can you guys help me out? Can you get me out of here? The guys should have that leverage. Most of these players do have that leverage. I'm not mad at that.
Yes, okay, cool, but I don't feel bad for any one of these people. Is what I'm saying. I don't feel bad about that at all. What I'm saying is that the media people who are pushing this, they have a secret source, which is usually a GM, who's giving them information and they're putting it out there. That's the problem. They don't want to ruin their source. And they have some sources in the players, yes, but it seems to be like there's more power in the information coming from the GMs who cause more of the gossip that also is a part of the product. Because we're talking about this now. All of that is a part of the offseason is all based on transactions. It's all based on where's the next player going. What can your team get this player or that player? And that's all based on the chitter chatter between the GMs and the information you get from in between the GMs and who's going where potentially. And that's what these media members don't want to ruin, those relationships. And in that sense, I agree with Draymond. Like, yo, they should have their feet to the fire. Because like I said, most of these GMs stink. Because most of these players do not stink. They don't. They're in a bad spot. That's why, again, that's why LeBron left. You know what I mean? That's why, who can we say was in a bad team forever? KG in Minnesota. What the hell was he doing in Minnesota for that long? That they stunk.
Different time. I'm trying to be loyal.
I understand. Well, that's what I'm saying.
And I heard him.
Right.
And he said he regretted that.
Especially after LeBron left. He didn't realize that. Nobody realized I could just leave. I mean, Shaq did. Shaq left and he had it good. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant left and he had it good. So that's great. But at the same time, these GMs, the GM for the Oklahoma, that Oklahoma that Kevin Durant left, he seems to be good at getting first round draft picks, staying competitive. All right, cool. You're a talent. You evaluate talent really well, but you stink at recognizing the fact that you have talent and you should have never let James Harden leave. And you have 3 MVPs. He should be held to the fire just as much as all these players. I think that's Draymond's point. Just to complete his point was like, yo, they suck.
No, I think his point was it's just a double standard on how they do protocol. Because if they want to trade a player, those discussions, like you said, it gets leaked to the press. Like, oh, the Cavaliers are thinking about shipping Andre Drummond out to, looking for possible trade. That can become public. And some of these and it's another thing. Some of these players don't even know it at first. They only find out through the media. Like, oh, what? Look at Cousins. We could talk about his situation recently, but his situation when he was with the Pelicans, he didn't know he was being traded. He found out during All-Star Weekend.
Right.
From the media when they were doing interviews. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, son. Nah, Draymond was saying it's a double standard. Huh?
It is. I think Jalen Rose found out when he was in a barbershop. Richard Jefferson, I just heard, he found out he was being traded when he was at like a basketball camp, when he was, head of a basketball camp. And one of the kids' fathers told him on his way to his car, like, yo, my father just told me that you just got traded to Milwaukee. So, yes, I understand that, but it is part of the business. And part of that business is I got to leak this out because I want to put pressure on every other team. They're up for a trade. Why? Because now if I'm potentially trading with Toronto, but New York is playing, is pussyfooting with me, guess what? They might feel a little more pressure if the New York Times or the New York Post, the back page of the Post and the back page of the Daily News has this trade going to Toronto and the Knicks just messed this up. Now you put pressure on them. That's strategy. So, but at the same time, the GMs that stink, that's my focus on this. The GMs that stink, they get no press. They never make we don't know what they look like most of the time. I hate that. I hate that part of the game. They should be held to the more accountable.
I mean, but guess what? Because the way it's set up, they're in the office. They're not a player. You're going to see the players' faces. You know what I'm saying? So they're out on Front Street. You don't see these guys behind the scenes. Right. And listen, no, but let's not act like GMs when they do fuck up badly. They do get fired. Some of them. I mean, listen, man. At the end of the day, I just feel like
being fired and being cut are like are the same thing, but they get like buyouts or whatever it is. The GMs, it's just not the same. You don't get dragged through. They don't tell them about how bad. You think all these GMs are a pleasure to be around, especially if they're competitive? There's no way. Just like all these players. That was part of Draymond's point too. Like, oh, this guy's a cancer. This guy's this guy's that. We never hear anything like that about the GMs. And if we do, it's not enough. Because partly because, like you said, we see these players on television.
They don't play.
Yeah.
And these GMs don't play. They can't basketball on the court.
No, but if they had some an allegation or a court case, they would certainly make them front page because it's salacious enough for it. But that's the only time that they made the New York Mets general manager had to quit, or one of these executive people in the office because he had a sexual assault charge or whatever harassment charge. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's different. Of course, that's different, bro. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the NBA, specifically the NBA, these players, they drive revenue for your team. They're the face of your franchise. They should be treated a little much better than how they're handled. I get it's business, but it's the way you do business. And some of these GMs, like you said, they need to be invested by the Better Business Bureau because a lot of the shit they do is fucked up, man. It's fucked up. I mean, that's the game, but it's fucked up.
Great fucking analogy. Their credit sucks. Great fucking analogy, Bmad. Bmad right there. You see it right there. Bmad. Be mad, GM.
Stupid.
The real B dot.